good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Do not laugh at that, Michael. We are so excited for all of you to be here for our Pride Month 2026 event for the DataPride Tableau user group. We'll be talking IronViz finals journey and navigating name changes with the wonderful Kevin Wee and the fabulous Rain Ortega. Just to go through the agenda today, we're going to do some welcome and housekeeping, some Pride Month acknowledgement. We're going to welcome some new co-leads to the DataPride Tableau user group. We're going to then go into Kevin's Finding My Voice and Pride in the IronViz, and then Making It Rain, navigating a name change using Tableau Public with Rain. And then we'll do some closeout. So super excited for today's event. It's Pride Month, can never go wrong with that. First, of course, the DataPride Tableau user group is a virtual community space to highlight, elevate, and bring together the LGBTQ plus community in data and its allies. We have been at this for almost 4 years virtually, and have to say that coming up on 4 years of this user group is absolutely fabulous. And, we've been able to also start bringing DataPride in person at TC, as well as with our DataPride New York City chapter. And it's just been absolutely fantastic to bring this, group together and, just have this community space for everyone. Now, just some quick housekeeping, some announcements. Tableau Ambassador applications and nominations are open from June 10th to July 16th. We need your help to find our 2026 Tableau ambassadors. You can nominate someone, you can put yourself up, and of course, you will always be your best self-advocate. Having been an ambassador for 4 years now, it has been one of my absolute pleasures to be part of that community, to be, working with Tableau so closely and really sharing what is amazing about Tableau as we go through all these different changes, in everything from just data visualization to AI and so much, and just being part of that. So check out that link at the QR code. We'll put in the link a little bit later and, help us find our Tableau ambassadors. Now, of course, happy Pride Month. We are so excited that you are all here. We have an image here of one of the wonderful Pride Vizes done by Lisa Truscott, former IronViz contestant and winner, and just showing all of the different colors of Pride, all of our different flags and identities, and this Viz, which the link is there and we'll post as well in the chat, really shows, all of our flags throughout the years, from the original 8-bar flag to what is now commonly seen, the 6, and so much more. We want to acknowledge as well in this Pride Month that Pride started as a riot and will always be noted and rooted in that. Sunday, June 28th marks the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, which started what we now see as Pride. It has been a yearly reminder of those riots and the rights achieved by our community, starting with queer trans people of color. And as we go forward with that as well, especially in today's world, in today's age, we really see that there's a lot more work to do and a lot more work as we celebrate Pride Month. This month as well also is the anniversary of the Supreme Court case that provided the fundamental right to marriage for the LGBTQ plus community as well. So we want, as always, to acknowledge Pride as what it is. It started as a riot, not just our parades. Now, with that, I am so excited to welcome our new co-leads to DataPride, Michael McCusker and Jesus Tomas. They have been coming in over the past few months or even weeks, and it has just been wonderful having these two new individuals into the leadership here. We've had some changes over the past several months when it's come to leadership for DataPride, but it is so great to have new people coming in. I don't know, Michael, Jesus, if you want to say a few words.
Thank you, Lawrence, and Thank you for having me as part of the leadership group here on the Tableau Pride. This is what a great month to join. This is a Pride month. We have Rain and Kevin. I told Lawrence earlier this week that I would show up to watch them open a grocery store. So to get to hear about their stories in Tableau, I'm just absolutely thrilled about. I'm really excited to be joining this leadership team. For those of you that don't know me, I'm also a co-lead on the San Diego Tableau user group, and I'm often about on LinkedIn and Tableau publishing stuff and sharing all my work. So follow me there. I'll pass it over to Jesus to say a couple of things.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jesus Tomas, Senior Research Data Analyst here at the state of Missouri. Just still kind of learning the ropes here, and looking forward to working with Lawrence and Michael, and being able to host these events and being able to be part of the community. Thank you.
Yes. Well, we are so glad. Thank you both for taking the time, and I'm so glad to have you both here, and cannot wait to see what all we do together for this amazing tug. With that being said, we're going to head right into our presentations. First off, we have Kevin Wee, lead BI analyst at Capital One, IronViz 2026 finalist, and Tableau visionary. Kevin, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. It's all you now.
Thank you very much. Let me share mine. You're hearing me all right?
We can hear
Yes.
you. Great.
Good. Great. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're from. My name is Kevin, and today I'd like to share a little bit about how I found my voice and my pride in the IronViz. Let's get started. Yeah, my name is Kevin Wee. I use he, him pronoun. And if we have any Mandarin speaking folks here today, my Chinese name is Huang Kewen. So just to introduce myself, I'll talk way more about myself today than normal, but we don't have to get to that later. A little bit about me and Tableau. I've been using Tableau since 2019 as a tool for my PhD research. Ever since I joined Discover as a BI analyst. Discover has been acquired by Capital One. So technically, currently, I'm the lead BI analyst at Capital One. In the last couple of years, I've been presenting in various TUG talks and Tableau conferences. I have curated all my talks on YouTube to share my knowledge and my take with the data fan community. I've been an ambassador for a couple of years and visionary as well. So all my, accolades right behind me. Just very passionate to be able to connect and engage with the community, share not just ideas, but also what we love about using data. 2 months ago, I was on a stage of Tableau conference, participating in something that some of you might have heard of. It's called the IronViz. So today we're going to talk about how I reached the stage and then how I brought my unique take when I am presenting my visualization. So the topic is finding my voice and pride in the IronViz, but it didn't just happen. I'm going to start by talking about what influenced my voice and pride and how I nurtured them, not just on the stage, but what happened before the IronViz. Then we're going to talk about my qualifier and final visualization projects and how I put in my own take in them. With that said, here are some notes. Number one, I'm going to share a lot about my personal stories today. They are not everything that happened on me, but snippets of the realities that I have experienced. So bear that in mind. They're just like visualization. They're just representations of what had happened, a simpler form of them. The second thing is I do have to acknowledge that my privilege and particularly my luck have contributed greatly to my success. Me as a cisgender Chinese male that speak English and Mandarin, I have a lot of, I obtain a lot of advantage in life from all of these qualities. My luck being someone that happened to have a lot of time during last October, gave me a lot of privilege and freedom to create a good visualization for the qualifier, and then led me to be on the stage. So all of this we have to acknowledge them when I talk about my success. So with that said, let's begin. I'm gonna keep scrolling just to see if anyone have any question. Cool. We're gonna keep this conversational and informal. So what influenced my voice and my pride? I'll say, in short, my self-identities and life experience, a lot of this have played into what I find to be very interesting or what I have strong feelings on. I am a bi-ethnic Chinese. My family, my father's side and my mother's side came from two different distinctive part of China. Not my parents, my grandparents. They were from China, but my parents, they were born in Malaysia. So as a Chinese Malaysian, that's also, in part of the LGBTQ community, I have a very unique take, let's say, compared to people in America or people that are just from China. I'm multilingual. As a matter of fact, I speak 6 languages: English, Malay, Mandarin, Cantonese, and a couple of Chinese dialects. As a result, it gave me a lot of opportunity to see things in different light. I'm also a foodie. Both of my family, they love cooking. As a matter of fact, Malaysian might be the most obese Southeast Asian just because of how much we love to season our food. So I can talk about food like all days. And I love sci-fi, I love visualization, I love comic books. So in a very traditional sense, I am a geek. So if we have any friends today sharing all of these passions, please reach out and we can talk shop about them. We don't have to just talk about Tableau. I also have a lot of precious life experience that I have experienced. Some of them are good, some of them are not good. I've been a minority throughout my life, even though Chinese is the largest, population in the whole world. As a Chinese Malaysian, I am a minority. And now I'm working in the United States as a foreign worker. Of course, that comes in a second layer of being the minority of the minority. I love anything about, I'm sorry, not data nerd. Data nerd sounds wrong. Data nerd. I love to talk about how I clean data, how I get data, how I visualize data, tell data stories about things. These are just the things that get me going. I also wore a lot of hats in the past. I have a PhD in scientific visualization, where I study how design impact people's comprehensions on scientific animation. I used to work in a wet lab as a molecular biologist, where I, culture E. coli and then create fluorescent protein out of it. I used to be a participant of a competitive debate contest, and I also survived more than one racial assaults. I really need to pay attention to where I go at night. So a lot of this layered in life influence how I see the world and what kind of stories I want to bring to my data visualization pieces. So how I nurtured my voice and pride, they didn't just suddenly appear when I'm on a stage for the IronViz. I must have done a lot of things in terms of data visualizations to cultivate them. So today, I'm going to quickly share 3 tiny examples in my Tableau public, just to show you how I intertwine my identity and what I'm proud of into the vizes that I created. So let's go to Tableau public. Number 1, pink triangle. Cool. As a matter of fact, Lawrence, keep me honest here. Was it the first DataPride event?
This was the first, yes, you presented at the first DataPride event back in 2022 because of this Viz, which was our first collaboration with Back to Viz Basics. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Sure, thank you. So a couple years ago, the Back to Viz Basic Challenge had a data set during the Pride Month where they showcase in various countries how many people thought homosexuality should be accepted by the society or not. To me, the data set, to most people, the data set is quite dichotomous, right? You either agree or not. But I found it very interesting where you add that two columns together, they didn't add up to 100. So I did a little bit of digging in it, realizing that in a lot of countries, they chose not to answer the question. And of course, these are the countries that we deem more conservative or had more discriminatory regulations against people like us. So with the data set and a lot of reflective, I wanted to shed more lights into the fact that people were silent or being silenced, pulling an opera here. So, which I later realized that I have three metrics. What if I use a triangle? Better yet, an inverted pink triangle to represent the data set. So here, it's a little bit hard to read, but basically any point in the any point within the triangle adds up to 100% in terms of the positions along the three axes. And if you can't read the pink triangle, it's okay. We have this in the tooltip to help you understand the data. So why pink triangle? For those who are not familiar with the history behind the symbol, pink triangle used to be the symbol for, used to be the tag on the shirt for gay people in the Nazi concentration camp. It was a very painful experience for a lot of people back then. But later, the Pride community reclaimed the symbol by using it in the AIDS, Silence Against AIDS campaign during the AIDS crisis decades ago. Later, it's been used in many Pride events, just as a way to promote understandings in not just the disease, but also the community. So I just thought it's a very, the symbol has so much meaning in it that we could use it to create a meaningful viz. And as a matter of fact, it is just being featured in the DataPride section in Tableau public landing page starting this week. Zoom in a little bit. If you go to DataPride, if you go to Tableau public and go to the DataPride session, you will see many interesting and meaningful creations telling different stories about LGBTQIA plus community. And yeah, my viz was fortunate to be featured, one of them. So one of the examples, example number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Can you put it in the chat if you have watched this movie? I watched it twice, cry like crazy for many reasons. Oh yeah, yes. So for those who have not seen the movie, it's a movie starred by Michelle Yeoh and many talented Asian American cast, and Jamie Lee Curtis as well. And I just thought that it's so rare to have a movie that tell the intergenerational trauma of the Chinese American community, as well as depicting Asian lesbian relationship in a major films. I just thought that it's very interesting. And also the cast is so talented. So I use these visualizations to show what was the movie played by each of the cast member over the years, and then how big of the deal it was on IMDb and what's the rating score. So here, let's just use this as an example. I think that one is Crazy Rich Asian. Yeah, so here, that dot represented Crazy Rich Asians. The bigger the dot, the more people voted for it on IMDb. The lighter the color, the better the score on IMDb. So just to show people this. This viz, I use it to celebrate the talent of the Asian American artists, and also to use the symbol of the everything bagel, which is featured heavily in the movie as a sense of falling apart, as a sense of everything flying out of the flying into the black hole. So I thought that I could use the symbol and my unique understanding of the movie to celebrate the movie and the talent cast behind it. And you can see that it's the first cast. It's one of the few movies that won Oscar Best Film with non-white cast. And it's also actually the visualization was used as one of the promote visualization for the Data Plus Movie Challenge. It's also my only connection to IMDb, the website. I can tell people that, hey, Michelle and I have one thing in common. We're both Chinese Malaysian that have one page, at least one page in IMDb. So yeah, second story. The third story I like to share is visualizations for the nutrition value of dim sum. So a couple years ago, I was bored at home, and just like every ambassador and visionary that were bored at home, we decided to go to the internet and find some data set about anything that we like. And I came across this data set about the nutrition value of various dim sum dishes. For those who are not familiar with it, dim sums are Chinese dishes that are tiny, served in tiny bamboo steam cage, and they're colorful, they are delicious, very saucy, and high variety. Some of them are sweet, some of them are savory, and we eat it as a shared meal in a rotating table. It has a lot of ingredients, and lotus is actually one of the prominent ingredients. Lotus seed and lotus root, they were used heavily in Chinese or Cantonese cuisine. So I figured, why don't I use the motifs of lotus and the color to represent the different dim sum, the concentration of nutrition in each of the dishes in terms of each nutrient type. So again, for example, the darker the color, the more nutritious one item is. And for those who can't read the more artistic interpretations of the chart, I always provide the bar chart equivalent in the tooltip. So yes, this visualization actually has been featured in the AAP. No, it's not featured in the AAPI Heritage Month feature on Tableau Public. However, it's actually featured in Andy Kurtz's Data Visualization Handbook. Here, I was so proud because I actually read this book as a graduate student. I treated it as a textbook, and when he texted me and said, "Oh, Kevin, can we feature your visualization?" I was very proud. So yeah, I am very proud that I was able to bring my heritage, my foodie nature, into the Tableau community and then share what I loved. So all of these are the things that how I've been using Tableau Public, my talent in data visualization to express my love, my passion, my pride. But how have I been using them on the IronViz stage? So for those who are not familiar with IronViz, I'm just going to spend about 3 minutes talking about what it's about. So IronViz is an annual data visualization and storytelling competition conducted by Tableau. I believe it's the largest in the world. There are other companies trying to recreate the experience, so Tableau, be aware of it. So I was one of the finalists on stage competing this May. So what happened exactly? So last October, Tableau shared this post on LinkedIn and Twitter. And basically, anyone that won the competitions, you have $15,000 for champion and then $6,000 for the runner-ups. You get to donate the same amount of money of the award to any, charity of your choosing. And you have to publish the final visualizations on Tableau Public. And there are 2 rounds. In the qualifier rounds, last year, the topic was food and drink. And there were 122 submissions last year, not this year, last year. And Tableau, with the following criteria, they would judge each of the visualization by their design, analysis, and storytelling. And they would pick top 3. And then I was fortunate for being selected as one of top 3s. And then in around February, they'll give you a limited set of data, and then you have to find story from the data set and then present it on the stage you have to create it on the stage under 20 minutes and then present it in 3 minutes. And of course, Anne Preckler won the competition. She's highly talented. Lawrence, if you can drop the IronViz YouTube video in the chat, that would be appreciated. Everybody go watch, go enjoy the show. So this is the timeline. It was a long commitment. It was basically the whole 6 months of my life was just booked for this event with only like the Christmas month as a break. This year, if it happened again, it will be around October and November as well. So if you are interested in participating in the IronViz for 2027, be aware of the time commitment and the at least the time you need to block in if you were to participate in a qualifier. The rest, you only involve with them if you were selected as the top 3. So in the qualifier round, I basically expanded my dim sum visualization. And in the final round, I did one visualizations talking about graphic novels, which I love and I have a lot on my coffee table. So I'm going to talk about each of them real quick. So, oops, not there. So qualifier, great. So for my qualifier visualization, now I am not just talking about the nutrition value of the dishes. I also further explore the energy sources and how to eat these dishes healthier. So we started the visualizations with this round table, you know, the rotating table, and with each of the dishes. And here's the thing, with this in the tooltip, I actually created this. You can hover over each of the dishes. It will tell you their Chinese name, English name, and what are you seeing in terms of visual description. Not just the food, even the sauces, I'm telling you what are the sauces made of. And if you scroll a little bit to the bottom here, it kind of gives you the table of content telling you that we have 4 parts: nutrition, energy sources, ingredient, and how to make a healthy choice with eating the food. We have, for each chapter, there are 2 sections. One, it's showing you all of the 76 dishes, not just the 30 dishes in the original visualization, but all 76. And then I bring back the lotus chart, you know, as an Easter egg. And then I analyze in terms of nutrition, whether we overate or not. And then I analyze, I break down the energy sources by whether you get energy for each dish from carbohydrates, fat, or protein. Using, again, the ternary plot that I previously learned how to create. And then I filter it by only the food that I ordered. And then I analyze the ingredient of all 76 dishes. You may select any of the dishes in English name or Mandarin name, because let's be honest, I don't know these dishes in English. I learned them in Mandarin. So you can, I believe you can do this. Hey, let's just do some buns. And now you get to see the ingredient names of each of these dishes. And then when you hover over them, it will tell you the nutritious value of that ingredient with the given quantity. So, and all of analysis here. And then we have this giant fan showcasing with the food that I order, what were the ingredients, the amount of ingredient in terms of how many grams of them, and then whether with that amount, how nutritious it is in terms of each nutrient type. So yes. And then I ended the visualizations with 4 ways to eat it healthier. You can either call more friends to, you know, share the burden. You can order fewer items. You can choose healthier alternative. Or you can just exercise later. You can click through this on your own time. So yes, so I wanted to use everything that I've learned about data visualizations to convey my culture, to convey my passion. You notice that I use a lot of green instead of red. And a lot of people would be like, oh, I thought every Chinese visualization tended to be red color. But actually, if you know anything about Chinese restaurant, they're often green. they're not red. The red is only during when we're celebrating something like in a festival. But yes, a lot of Chinese restaurants actually in the color of green. And also the ternary plot actually it's inspired by the design of this is essentially Chinese tamales for the Americans. They are sticky rice with meats, with eggs, with mushrooms on it, and then you steam the whole thing or boil it. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow it's the 5th month on the Chinese calendar and the 5th day. It's exactly where we celebrate Dragon Boat Festival. And yeah, we will be eating this Chinese tamales too. It's called zongzi. So yes, you can see how this is influenced by my passion in food. And of course, the folding fan, it's influenced by the very typical East Asian folding fan. So yeah, you can tell how passionate I am when talking about this. If I go over time, I'll be quick. Cool. So now let's talk about the final visualization. That is my graphic novel visualization. So this whole thing started with a mystery. I'm sharing on a stage telling people that today I like to tell a story about a book medium that tells stories with words and visual arts. I'm talking about graphic novels. And then I will be spending the next couple of minutes debunking the myths, common myths about graphic novels, including whether it's just about superhero, whether it's for kid, or whether it has any profound topics depicted in the stories. So yeah, the visualizations was quite well received, I'll say, at least from the people that approached me. Of course, if they hated my visualization, they wouldn't tell me my face. They're just gonna vote it down. But no, I use a series of charts depicting the topic, including this flipping open book, inspired by, of course, the act of reading the book page by page. I wanted to convey that excitement and that novelty. And also I use a rank chart to showcase how popular each genre is over the period of time. And when you toggle from tab to tab, you will actually highlight different parts of the rank chart. Oh, let me do it again. 1, 2, 3. Yes, you can toggle between different line or different part of the rank chart. And the whole thing ended with my recommendations for those who wanted to start reading graphic novels. I made a lot of recommendations based on my own preference, just because I love a lot of materials, including a Heartstopper, very sweet stories between two young boys in high school setting and then later going into the university. You can see how well loved the book is in terms of how many people rated this book highly in the Goodreads. I also recommended other books, including The Mouse, which is a book telling the stories of the author's father's survival in the Nazi concentration camp as a Jewish. And I ended everything with Sandman and a quote from Sandman telling us the importance of reading stories that are fiction. Yes, so this is, of course, influenced, like what I said earlier, the excitements of reading graphic novels. I read a lot of superhero graphic novels, even though I know that it's not the biggest genre. Heartstopper, oh, by the way, they're gonna have a new movie on Netflix, so shout out to them. Mouse, I was originally gonna show people the cover of Mouse and was like, yeah, it's not a good thing to show a giant Nazi sign in a giant stage. But yes, I just love this storytelling. I hope that with my own storytelling, I convey my excitements about another storytelling. But yes, so these are how I weave my voice into the design and the storytelling part of each visit in the IronViz content. And here's the key lesson. That is, I think authenticity goes a very long way. When you are visiting the things that you're excited about, the things that you know, your message get across further. I participated in the IronViz qualifier for 3 times. The first 2 times, I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, the topic was about game, was about entertainment. I knew about them, but I was lukewarm about this topic. But when it was about food and drink, I was like, okay, it's my game. I could do it. Yeah. So with that said, that's it for my presentations. If you'd like to connect with me, please find me on Tableau Public, LinkedIn, or my blog. And I'd like to especially shout out to Lawrence for inviting me to the presentation. Shout out to Ashley and Gus for inspiring the creations of the book charts, and just so many awesome members in the DataFam community that helped me to be on a stage this May. So thank you. Questions, comment, anything? Sorry, Rain, did I eat into your time?
You're good.
Yeah,
good.
We're good on timing so far. And Kevin, thank you first off for, coming and sharing all of this. It's absolutely seeing this whole progression and how you weaved everything of yourself into this, and just this whole journey is absolutely fantastic. And I've been sharing the vizzes as well in the chat so people can go and see, look at all of these vizzes you've done at the IronViz competition, and how just fantastic it was to watch that together. I will say, there will be a point if you're watching the IronViz competition where Kevin might stumble in his presentation. Blame me. So that was me screaming at Heartstopper. But, it was absolutely amazing. And thank you for coming and talking. You're always welcome here with us. So you have an open slot to speak. So thank you. Anyone, questions, comments? We're seeing so much in the chat, just, talking about how amazing, this presentation was, and just looking at the journey.
Just a comment. It's just so cool to see so much of you come through all of your vizzes, and like how intentional you are about bringing yourself into your dashboards and your visualizations. It's just really, really inspiring, and I think a lot of us can take a lot from that.
Well, thank you. I was joking with my friends the other day that now when I create, I'm currently in a positions where when I create anything on Tableau Public, I want it to represent myself professionally or mentally or emotionally. I don't think anyone in the world doubt that I can create a bar chart at this moment. So I was like, okay, if everybody already know that I can create bar chart, that what can I create? What else can I create that tell my own stories or my own unique take? So I think with that safety net, it helped a lot. And I think the community's been very welcoming and for me to have some trial and error. So it's been a good journey.
Yeah. And just seeing, just like in that dim sum, your qualifier, so much of you like things that I love, where I immediately know it's a Kevin Weaviz because I see a ternary chart kind of a thing is, huge, and seeing just those, all that together, it's just fantastic seeing your abilities and what anyone can do when they sit down and look at this, and like you said, put at it with authenticity.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to put it out here. Obviously, I'm not going to participate in this year's IronViz. And so if anyone want to play with it, if anyone considering putting your name in the hat for the IronViz this year for the qualifier round, feel free to reach out to me if you need any advice for your visualizations, data storytelling, or finding data. Just approach me on LinkedIn, and we could talk about them.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, as always, Kevin. It's absolutely fantastic. And this presentation, we'll all be thinking about it and probably going back, through this recording just to rewatch and go through it all again. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Fantastic. So with that being said, and going on that, we now have Rain Ortega coming on, Salesforce program lead for our Tableau user groups. Rain, so excited to have you. And, we were talking about this at TC and, your willingness. And I'm like, immediately, 100%, we're done. We're good. I've got my Pride Month. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Cannot wait to see.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was also an immediate yes when you asked me to come onto the DataPride TUG to share, because number one, I love this TUG so much. Happy Pride, everyone! And this is one of my favorite stories that I get to tell. So this is called Make It Rain, Navigating a Name Change with Tableau Public, and this is how Tableau changed my life. So I'm really excited to tell this story. So again, my name is Rain. I am the program lead for Tableau user groups. I help support our user groups across the globe, and I'm excited to bring the story to you. So a little bit about me here. I think we got these slides in opposite order, but that's okay. So a little bit about me here. So I am non-binary. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what that means I do not identify with either male or female. I kind of ride the middle of that spectrum and sometimes jump off of that spectrum entirely. So my gender is very much a moving target, and I like it that way. I use they, them pronouns, and I identify as bisexual as well. I am bi-ethnic as well, so I am half Spanish and half Chinese. I'm actually pursuing Spanish citizenship as we speak right now. And I grew up with my Chinese grandparents for the most part. So I identify very heavily with that side, and a lot of my life is influenced by that side as well. So Kevin, a lot of the things that you were talking about hit really close to home for me, and I loved it so much. As far as my experience with Tableau goes, my whole experience with Tableau revolves around data and community. So I have been a Tableau user since late 2018. I encountered Tableau on accident when I was asked to come in to a education research center and make a interactable viz. Somebody asked me to program it in Python, and I said, no, we have a tool, I think, that could do this for us instead. And so I made a little line chart, and that was my first viz ever. After that, I spent a little bit of time in clinical trials before getting scooped up by Tableau in March 2020, 3 blissful days before lockdown, as an instructor. So I was teaching our desktop courses, our prep course. I trained the Pokemon company, which was really fun. And I was teaching our visual analytics course as well. After that, I spent some time doing data analysis for workforce development programs, and have been in this role as the program lead for Tableau user groups since last year. So in addition to that, I'm a member of Outforce at Salesforce. Outforce is our employee resource group for all of our LGBTQIA folks. I am also on an advisory board for our trans and gender nonconforming employees to help influence the benefits that Salesforce offers our employees, and how we intervene in this very important time for protecting those folks under that umbrella. Outside of all of that, I have been a partner dancer since 2012. I have been doing something called Brazilian Zouk since 2018. I am one of just a handful of gender nonconforming folks in that community, and I work together with them to advise organizers across the country and across the globe on how to be good allies to the LGBTQIA community. We post pride tips in our global Facebook group on how to make inclusive events, things like that. On a lighter note, I am also parent to 2 kitties, which you see on the screen. Wallace is the black and white one in the top right corner, and Cypher is the little void in the sunflower on the bottom left. So I love them to death, and they are very upset about not being able to be in my office at this very second. So now that you've heard a little bit about what makes Rain, I want to talk about what went behind the name. I'm going to talk about the viz that I made, the impact that it had, and how you can find your data people. So let's go ahead and talk about the name itself. How did Rain get into my forecast? Let me tell you, first and foremost, picking a name is hard, and it's hard for many, many reasons. So my grandparents helped name me. So they picked a name straight out of the Bible. My grandfather was a Southern Baptist pastor. They picked a name straight out of the Bible for me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have been wanting to change my name since I was 6. I never identified with the name that they chose. There was a time in my life that I thought Debbie would be a good name for me. There was a time in my life that I thought Aurelia would be a good name for me. There were many names that I threw around ever since I was a small kid. My grandmother has drawings that I made in crayon with different names under them. So this has been a long time coming. And I knew that when I came into my gender identity back in 2018, that changing my name was going to be really important. And I knew that getting my family on board was also going to be really important. And I knew my grandparents kind of viewed this as kind of a phase where I would come in and out of being okay with my name and just not being okay with it. So I wanted to make sure that they knew I was serious. And be sensitive to the fact that it was a very personal thing for them to pick my name as well. So back in 2018, I tried on about a bajillion names in private. I looked at lists and lists and lists of gender neutral names. And unfortunately, most of them gave me the ick. They just didn't sit right. They sat just like my old name used to sit with me. So I tried out eventually 3 names with a trusted group of friends once I had narrowed it down. Those 3 names were Rain, Jade, and Beck. And I got some feedback from my group of friends. Obviously, I was not going to just let my friends pick my name for me, but I got some feedback. And I sat with that and I went, man, I don't really know what to do because I like Jade, but it's like not quite right. Rain's nice, but I live in Seattle, and if I'm Rain living in Seattle, I'm never going to hear the end of it, And Beck is nice, but I don't know. It's like too close to the old name, right? So I said to myself, well, let's do something involuntary. So we went to coffee, me and my friends. I had each one of them order under one of the 3 names, and we just went and sat down. It was a busy coffee shop. Sunday in Ballard in Seattle. That's when the farmers market is, so it's super busy. And we went and sat down, waited for the coffees to be made. And when you order coffee, especially in a busy coffee shop in Seattle, they'll yell the name out that the coffee is for. Yell it. And the only name that I perked up to was Rain. So I knew that something in my brain identified with that name really strongly to the point that I perked up to it even in an involuntary fashion. So Rain itself is also just kind of this force of this life and destruction and construction. So I really, really enjoyed the name as well. So ultimately, it came down to coffee. I've had quite a few people ask how I picked my name, and I tell them this story every single time. And I've had a few folks in my life use this method as well. So it was really great. So I had the name. Now I had to do the work of actually becoming Rain. So tackling the name change is basically multivariable calculus. So you have to go to a court, court hearing. So you have to petition the court for the hearing. You go to the hearing, you get the court order. After that, there are certain steps you have to take in a specific order in the United States in order to do this correctly. So, for example, your social security card has to be the first thing you change before you do your ID or your passport. Some steps require certified copies of your court order. Some steps only want your photocopy, and some steps are not going to return your original document. So you better make sure you have enough copies of that court order. Oh, and by the way, every single entity has its own process and own portal and own everything. So it ends up really overwhelming when it gets down to actually doing this. So I knew that I was probably going to be playing whack-a-mole for basically everything in my life. So I said to myself, all right, well, I'll make a spreadsheet, I guess. That was a really bad idea. So this is the spreadsheet that I made. There are about 60 to 70 rows on it, I want to say. And it was completely overwhelming. There are resources out there that are very scattered about all the things that you might need to keep in mind when you make a name change, but they're all very disparate. And unfortunately, the process is slightly different depending on where you live. So, for example, I was born in California, and in California, the process to change your birth certificate is very different than what it is in Washington state. So, every name change process is a little bit different. And so I needed to make something specific to me. So this was absolutely overwhelming. And I can tell you this is an incomplete data set as well, because I'm still finding things that I need to change my name on. And in the words of every good late night infomercial, I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. And at the time, I was working as an instructor. I was ramping up on different courses in Tableau, and I thought to myself, you know what? We should probably practice those skills that we've been learning to teach. We should probably make a viz that's a little bit better than what's on my Tableau public profile right now, and put things together so that I can keep track of everything that I need to do, and so I can show others what it's going to take, and show my grandparents also that I'm serious about this. So I went onto Tableau Public. For any of you out there who are not familiar with Tableau Public, it is a free way of utilizing Tableau. You can download workbooks to see how they're made on the back end. Mine is downloadable as well. There's a Hire Me button. I know we just launched achievements as well. So if you've gotten a Viz of the Day, if you're an ambassador, a visionary, things like that, there are a ton of Vizes on there that you can search. You can be inspired by our Viz of the Days that we pick every single day. And of course, you can web author or author on desktop as well. So highly recommend getting onto Tableau Public if you haven't already. This is also a great place to just build a portfolio of your work. So without further ado, though, I do want to talk about the Viz. So I'm going to go ahead and just show it to you first before navigating to Tableau Public. So I want everybody to remember, I made this back in 2021. There are definitely some things about it that I would change at this point, but this is what I made, and I wanted it to do a few different things. So firstly, I knew I was going to need to inform people about why I wanted to do this during lockdown of all times, why somebody who identifies as non-binary might want to do this, and what all it was going to take. So I have a little paragraph on the left about why that is. I chose to do this during lockdown because I was very intimidated at the process of going into court. It was also just logistically really difficult for me to get to the courthouse. So the fact that I could do it over Zoom during lockdown was actually really, really great. And on top of that, I was going to end up needing $420 to get my name change. So that is the cost of a new passport, the cost of the court order itself, the certified copies. Every single time there is a fee associated with changing your name. And I wanted to know what all in my life was going to need the most changing. And of course, spending and legal travel, things like that, are all entities that I needed to work with. And as you can see, there were 56 different places that I needed to work with to change my name. And within those entities, there were multiple steps as well. So because I had tasks that needed to be done first and foremost before anything else could change, I broke these down into priorities by critical, high, medium, and low. And I needed to know how many that I needed to get done. And of course, if I had some free time and I wanted to work on some high priority stuff or low priority stuff, then I could just click and be able to see. So if I were to click on one of these, let's do the high here. I get taken to a new dashboard and I can see what all I have completed and what all I have not. This data has not been updated in a little bit here, so forgive me. But if it's complete, we see the little rain cloud because I have made it rain, of course. And if it's not, then we see an X. And if it's in process, we see that little square. And if I were to hover over what I need to do, I can see that I need to mail in this birth certificate thing. Kevin, yeah, exactly. This is my own Agile Kanban board, exactly. To change this, I need all these different documents. I'm going to need a notarized sworn statement and the fees associated with this. And I know that my original is not going to be returned. So that means that I need a certified copy that I am not going to get back. Similarly, if I look at my investments, I know I just have to email someone. And with life insurance, I have to mail in the form, right? So lots of different things that I have to do. But this allowed me to break down that huge long list of stuff into digestible chunks that I could focus on. And that really helped me change my name in the end. And it helped me get through this process so that I didn't feel like I had a bajillion things to do. It felt a lot more parsable. So when I was ready to go back to my main dashboard, I just used my little navigation button, and we're back to the start. But I know it's not as impressive as Kevin's vizzes, for example, but of course this was like one of my first two vizzes. But this is the viz that I created. And I'm here today not just to talk about this viz. To me, for me, this is not like the most technical wonder in the world. It's just a bunch of bar charts and a table. But the impact this has had is immense. So I want to take you back into my slideshow to really talk about this, because once I was done with this, once I had published this, I sent it to my grandparents. And I sent it after I petitioned the court. And I want to talk about what happened. So, never mind, not that. This way. There we go. So, I published that viz. On my birthday, I woke up to a mysterious Venmo from one of my coworkers for $580. And it said, "Happy birthday from your Tableau family. Making a viz about your story inspired us to chip in for your name change cost. Make it rain." So my team of instructors and everyone on the curriculum team and a bunch of people who knew me for maybe a year all chipped in and fully funded my name change for my birthday. So needless to say, I was ugly crying in my room, and it was so wonderful. And that helped me change my name and become Rain on May 10th, 2021. Now, when that happened, and when I sent out my name change document, my tracker to my grandparents, The first thing that happened was the grandparents were like, "What do you mean you're changing your name? I don't know if I can deal with this," all this stuff. And the more they saw that I was serious about it, the more they got on board. So you can see a message from my grandmother, who has since passed. She says, "Woohoo, dear Rain, on getting your official name change. We'll be following your tracking. Keep us updated, dear Rain. Happy 30th birthday," right? Um, on top of that, I received a phone call from my grandfather, who was the one that I was actually most worried about because he is the Southern Baptist pastor after all. And he said, my grandmother said, "Hey, your grandfather wants to talk to you." And I said, "Okay, I am going outside for this talk." And so I was walking around a lake near my house, and he comes on the phone, and I'm expecting to get dead named like immediately. And instead, my 100-year-old Shanghainese immigrant grandfather comes on the phone and says, "Rain, I love your name so much, and I'm going to help your grandmother practice, and it's a great name. Do you know what it means? Do you know how to say it in Chinese? Do you know how to write it in Chinese?" He's so excited. And I had spent so much time ugly crying that month, over this name change. And I was bawling in public because I did not think that my grandparents would ever get on board with something like this. English was not their first language. My grandfather came over from Shanghai, and he was over 100 years old. So I figured he gets to do whatever he wants, right? I was ready to just kind of give him a pass, but he got on board immediately, and he never messed up my name from that moment onward. um, I've messed up my name more than my grandparent had. So just an incredible ally, and just an incredible person, and I miss him a lot. So um, beyond my grandparents, though, this dashboard has been shared in our channel for gender nonconforming employees who are also navigating their name change. This has been shared with my own friends in Seattle who are navigating their name changes, who needed a little bit more local direction as far as the entities in King County that they would be working with. Uh, and of course, I've shared this out with my managers, and it was really great to hear that one of my manager's children is trans, and she saw this viz and said, "Oh my gosh, well, if somebody can be like me and work at Tableau and be successful, then maybe it's okay for me to be who I am and to change my name and really step into my identity." And she's already started that name change journey. She's started her transition journey. I got to meet her only a few months ago for the first time, and it was just so special to really get to see her step into herself. So this story appears in every single talk I give about the Tableau community, because I really am who I am today because of Tableau and because of the data fam and the help of the data fam. I couldn't have made that dashboard without the help of the people who trained me as an instructor, who themselves were from the data fam. I could not have made that dashboard without the many instances of going on the forums and seeing answers from other people with similar issues as me, without looking at Tableau Public for inspiration on how to do this as well, and without the many, many blogs out there by DataFam members on how to do things like that sheet swapping situation that I did, like that navigation that I did, in order to make that viz itself. So I am here because the data fam is here, and it's really a testament to what the data fam can do for you. So I really just want to talk about how you can get involved with the data fam and how you can find your data people. And that is, of course, I have to plug my own program. You can find a Tableau user group. You're in one right now. We've got over 57,000 people across the globe to learn and connect with your friendly, like-minded peers. There is a dashboard on Tableau Public with all sorts of upcoming Tableau user group meetings on it. I actually made this viz myself, and if it's ever broken, you can always just find me and tell me, hey, Rain, your viz is broken, and I'll go fix it. But you can always find all sorts of meetings there. In addition, if a meeting is not your jam for whatever reason, we're always on Slack. So you can join the Tableau community on Slack. It is the best place to connect with anyone under the sun in the data fam. Everyone is very, very welcoming. If you are new to Tableau out there, all you have to do is ask for help and people will jump all over it for you. So I highly recommend getting on Slack if you have not yet. But without further ado, thank you so much for having me today. This is just a very, very personal story for me, and I try not to tear up every single time I tell it. And happy Pride to everyone out there. I know it's a particularly emotional Pride for a lot of us this year. So I really appreciate everyone being here and for hearing this story.
I don't think you need to worry about tearing up, because I think all of us are tearing up, like, you know, listening to a lot of that. Thank you for such an amazing presentation, for so much of your just personal journey. And I'm like, yeah, my heart is, you know, and yes, happy Pride. And thank you. I don't know if we have questions, a lot of comments. I think more than one person is with me with the tugging at the heartstrings and the, you know, the tears, you know, right now. But seeing this, what this viz, not only for yourself, but for others, has been able to do is huge. And I think you even talked about being visible, and having something like that allowed others to feel okay to be themselves and be able to go through that. And I think that's even now, one of the biggest things that we've ever, you know, talk about when it comes to the LGBTQ community, or any look at inclusion, is the fact that, you know, seeing is believing, and seeing someone in those positions able to do those things, you know, inspires us to be able to do so, and inspires others. And to see that just from one viz, and it is absolutely amazing in just what it does and what it shows. It's just fantastic. But being able to have that is amazing. And you having started as started in Tableau, and then seeing your viz, you know, helping the community helping you, and now you're helping the community just as who you are, which I will say we, as the DataPride Tableau user group, owe so much to Rain across the board, whether it's from, you know, just our events, or from Tableau Conference being our wonderful host with the most at our, you know, meetups. In person, it's just, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love my job. I love supporting this community. And, you know, seeing everybody at Tableau Conference was so nice. I know, like, we don't get to spend that much face-to-face time, you know, so every single time I get to see anybody out there is really a treat. And I owe everything to this community, so it is a treat for me to give back to it.
And we absolutely love you for that, and for everything you do. And it's amazing. With that, what questions, comments? I'm just the amount, I think both Kevin and Rain, your stories today have just been so powerful, and just so vulnerable too, showing and being your authentic selves, bringing your vulnerability has really touched, I think, a lot of us here, just seeing that. And especially in, like you said, Rain, where it's an emotionally charged time for the community right now, and having both of you just be so vulnerable and authentic really means a lot to me, and I think all of us here. So thank you for that, right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say that listening to Rain's stories and how she, I think it's just a testimony of like not just the community, but also like you really don't know what people could do with the software. Like I know for a lot of people that is just their day to day. You know, go check whether the line go the wrong way and then move on with their life. But for us, it's a way to express ourselves. It's a way to like for you to keep yourself afloat in this Herculean task to just change a couple of outlets in your document. It's I always say Tableau is a tool of enablement, and it is not just a it is a money making tool, but I think it has evolved over the years into something greater, and the community, the employee, have seen a way to leverage it so meaningfully, so impactfully. I hope that the leadership sees it too, so that we can keep using it this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we see how Tableau changes lives all the time. You know, I know back in COVID, I was working with the Hawaii Department of Health to manage their vaccine efforts across that state. So it does have real world impact every single day. And it's really cool to see that occur all the time. So I really appreciate that.
Fantastic. I don't know, Michael, Jesus, if any of you have anything you want to say and around these presentations or anything like that.
Nothing that's not been said already. It was so great to see personal stories come through. And not only that, it's leaders in the community that are sharing them. So people are hearing these stories that need to hear them. And so I appreciate both of you coming on and sharing with us all today. And during Pride Month, I mean, I think we knocked it out of the park with this Tableau user group meeting, the timing of it with our presenters. I think this was a perfect storm. And so thank you, everybody who participated.
Yes, thank you. I agree on that. It is a perfect storm having, both of you presenting such amazing stories and journeys during Pride Month. And, for some people, it might not feel like Pride. For me, it hasn't felt like Pride Month, just with everything going on. But at the same point, like this has made it feel like Pride. And so thank you. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you. With that, I am going to share my screen. And so we are early. Questions? No, everyone, I think in the comments, in the chat, have been it's just inspiration across the board. So with that, I want to thank, first off, Kevin and Rain for coming and presenting with us today and really giving us such inspiring stories for this Pride Month and just being authentic in just everything. And to all of you who have been here, thank you. It has been absolutely fantastic to have all of you here with us during this event. As always, we love our community and building that, safe space and for all of you to have been here for it. And is just your comments, your love for this is absolutely amazing. So thank you for that. Before we close out, I know we're a little early, but it's been an amazing time no matter what. We are having our 4-year anniversary event next month. We don't have the date set just yet, but we will be at 4 years for the DataPride Tableau user group. I'm sitting here wondering how all that time has passed, seeing as I feel like Tableau Conference 2022, where this was inspired, happened last week, not 4 years ago. But no, check out this link here and join us if you're not already subscribed. And we cannot wait to see you at our next one and more. And once again, thank you to everyone here and to our presenters. And with that, I want to say one more happy Pride, everybody, and have a wonderful day, week, and month.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Bye, everybody.
Thanks everyone for being here.
See ya.